What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Timonspodcast. One person said it's the best podcast in Indiana, so I don't disagree with them. And so here we are.
But what if it's the only podcast they listen to?
It could be.
No, I'm sure this is genuinely the best.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's definitely the best podcast in Goshen. I've been saying that. I don't know of any other podcasts, so I feel like I can say that. But even if there was other podcasts, that's a little prideful. I'll take it back.
No. Like,
good.
we can talk. We can. You can be proud of your work.
Yeah, I am. I'm glad that you're here. Let me say that
again.
Well, no, it's
no. I mean, I'm happy to be here again
as many times as you want. That's the
thank you so much.
That's the open invitation.
I appreciate the warm welcome.
Yeah, Johan, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm back here in the man cave with the puppers on the wall.
Yeah, with Joe the dog just chilling.
Hey,
we call him Joe Biting.
Oh, I see. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
You like that? Yeah.
I do.
It's not great, but
nah, dude, I feel it.
Yeah,
vibing with it.
So I don't know. Maybe I should let's lay it out, kind of how this came about.
Sure.
And then let's go there, and then I'll ask a couple. We'll maybe go back and talk a little bit about who you are, where you're from.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that first. Who are you? Where are you from?
So the people just tuning in, not really knowing,
right?
Who's this random Mexican in Timon's basement? Sorry, I don't know if the location was disclosed.
No, it's okay. It's in the basement.
All right, thank you so much. Hi. I've been in Goshen, Indiana for about 8 years. I moved here in 2014 from Texas, and I've just kind of been discovering who I want to be in these last 8 years. I've had 6 different jobs. Just doing all kinds of stuff because I was never happy doing what I was doing, working for someone else who didn't really see the potential or I don't know, wasn't really there for me. They were just there for themselves and I was just a part of their vision. I've just kind of experimented with a whole bunch of stuff. I have a family. I have 2 kiddos, a little girl, 5 years of age, named Finley, and then a little bubby at 3 years old named Atlas. And then, of course, my wife, Anna Shea, who is from Colorado.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's, And then, of course, me, Johan Vasquez. I'm 31, and I'm just trying to figure out life like everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, that
I feel you.
that young life that you're like, okay, when does adulting start?
Right.
Like, hey, I've been living in it, but I still don't feel it, you know?
Yeah,
every day it's just something new, learning something else. I'm like, when does it end? You know, I just wanna chill out for a sec, but I don't know. More on that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Thank you so much.
I think also if they ever want to get a little bit more of your backstory and stuff too, we did a previous podcast.
Yes,
that's a really good.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I don't need to go into it. It's already done. No, you guys just gotta go find it.
Well, I want to catch anyone up who hasn't.
Oh, I see.
Caught that either. But it's out there. We talk about a lot of great stuff. It's just that was a fascinating podcast because the world that you went through, the mission world in Texas, Tyler, I think Tyler, Texas. I forget what it's called.
Oh, that's an amazing memory, yeah.
But I have a coworker who went through the same thing. And so I was telling him about the podcast. He's like, no way. So it's just, I started to see other people who've been through that same regimen. I forget what it's called. You know what I'm talking about?
The Honor Academy?
Honor Academy.
Oh, I see.
And so it was really just fascinating talking to you. And then after that, I think that's a cool way God does stuff, but highlights multiple people who've also had similar experiences.
Wow.
I'm like, I actually can talk to you about that because I just did a 2-hour conversation with Johan. So anyways, go back and listen to that one.
Check it out. You'll find a lot about me and feel free to message me if you want to talk about anything.
Talk more. So this podcast came about because I got a call from you.
You did. You got a call from me.
Yeah.
The last 4 months, 6 months really have been a cyclone of emotions and strife. And I was like, what better way to tell the masses? I can type in a super long situation explaining, but it doesn't really get the heart of everything when you can hear it from my voice. With my friend Timon, filling in for everyone who is confused, sad, kind of hungry for information.
Yeah.
And so Timon will be taking your guys' role as the community, trying to find out what the heck happened to Guac and Squat in January of 2023, starting off a new year. with lots of promise, and then all of a sudden a dynamic shift.
Yeah.
So that is why we're here. And I reached out to Timon and I was like, yo dog, like, I want to use your platform, if you allow me to share to my people. So this will be going up on my Facebook, and people will be able to just listen along and watch, obviously, because there's footage.
Yeah.
And just kind of join in and have no more worry, have no more any of that, and also be able to know how to help in the future if they would like to extend the hand out.
Yeah. I think it'll also be cool to hear your journey. I think that'll be interesting too.
Right on.
I'll say one of the cool, and it was interesting because I saw when you called me, you said, hey man, I don't know if you saw the Facebook post. So immediately I pulled up the Facebook post.
And while we were talking, you were looking at it, reading, so
sharing. And you said, I think it was maybe a Thursday when we talked, and you said tomorrow's my last day. And on the Facebook post, so I'm reading through that, and it was interesting because it's literally 4 years. Was it 4 years to the date?
That's right.
When you started
correct.
Guac and Squat.
So I started my first sale as I sold a little half pound of guac at 8:33 in the morning on a Saturday, February 3rd, 2019.
Wow.
And February 3rd, 2023, I sold my last guac at that night. I didn't know the time, but it was just like, wow, exactly 4 years to the day that Guac and Squat has been alive. And it went from selling a little tub at the farmer's market to a restaurant. And like, you know, people, I'm kind of like shook up about some of the stuff that's happened recently, but you know, people, I have a friend who really encourages me. He's like, dude, you did something, you set out for it, and you actually accomplished it. A lot of people don't get to that point, you know, and you made a living off of it for the last 4 years, you know. So yeah, so that was incredible to kind of soak in, like 4 years of guac from, in a nutshell, from farmer's market to restaurant.
Yeah.
And it happened, you know.
From an avocado shelf.
There you go. Yeah. Oh my.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, well, you get those now because you know you got to start brushing up on those jokes.
I know. Yeah. For the listeners that don't know, I am going to be a dad soon.
Hey.
So working on my dad jokes.
No, you have to.
Yeah.
You gotta start writing them down.
They just come to you as you realize you're pregnant, and then all of a sudden it's like dad joke after dad joke.
You've unlocked the dad jokes in your heart.
Exactly. Right. Achievement unlocked. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, man. So I went and visited you on your last day. And you were bumping. That was a cool thing.
I was very busy because people were wanting to get a last bite of history. And it was also funny because there was people who walked in like, oh, I just found this place. This is great, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I'm glad you found me. It's your first and last. And they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, dog, we're closing the restaurant. They're like, what? What do you mean? You know? Yeah. So a lot of people were actually bummed. And yes, today, because I forgot to put that I was temporarily closed, I got phone calls. And they're like, yo, where you at? Yo, you open? And I was like, nah, dog, sorry. Like, we're done. Yeah. And they were disheartened. But then they were like, where can I get good food? And I'm like,
there's a good spot in Chicago if you want.
I don't go out to eat, but you know, I'm literally the worst person to ask. But they were very encouraging when they did talk to me on the phone today. Like, hey, we loved your food. We're super sad. You had the best spot for us personally. Yeah. And now I don't know what to do. I was like, dang, like I didn't know I was that much of an impact. You know, I thought I was just making I thought I was just a dude making good food. Yeah. But I guess I did help a lot of people out with either finances or just nutrition, whatever. But it didn't really hit me until the phone call today that was like, oh, wow, I made a huge difference in this guy's life, you know? Being able to go on a date for like under $20, you know, and eat well. Right. Eat nutritiously, have a good variety of drinks, although not everyone was happy about my drinks. Oh, really? Some people still wanted their Coke, still wanted their sugar, but I was like, look, I care about you more. I want to make sure you guys are drinking good stuff. That's
funny. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that. Yeah, no, your drink selection was solid. That's a lot of stuff that Alice and I drink already. Like, yeah, I'm like, oh, cool. Mm-hmm. I love that. So. So were you planning on closing?
No, I guess, do you want to just start at the beginning?
Start at the beginning.
When this all started?
Yeah.
So last summer was rough. It was, I went from going into summer last year, like, okay, I'm just going to do the farmers market in Goshen. It's going to be good, whatever. And in the course of 3 days, I had that mentality. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to do my Goshen farmers market. It's going to be great. I'm going to introduce tamales. We're going to rock it, you know? And in 3 days, I went from that mentality to all of a sudden, oh, I'm doing Goshen, Elkhart, and Middlebury.
Wow.
So in 3 days, I went on an Amazon shopping spree and ordered 2 additional tents, a generator, which was not a cheap purchase. It was like about $700, and got everything ready for the farmer's market. And now I had to also do a mad dash to find some avocados. And some people remember that post where I was asking people, if you find ripe avocados, let me know, because I need about 400. And so I was burning through about 300 to about 400 avocados a week.
Wow.
Doing those 3 markets. And it was out of nowhere, right? Fast forward, all the months passed by, very, very hectic. It was very hard on my wife more than me, because there was a lot of stress around my part, because I'm having to make 120 pounds of guac a week to provide for these markets. Granted, they're selling out and we're being very profitable, but it was just very exhausting, and I had no help.
Right.
For the most part,
You scaled by you just doing it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like you got other people underneath you and you grew that way. No, it's like
it was just Johan making guac on Friday
times 3.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I went from making 40 pounds to 120.
Yeah,
because the demand was not stopping, and then on top of that, tamales. So like people were eating those tamales up, and you've had them before. You know, like they taste different, and people are like, "Oh, this price is too expensive." I'm like, I know they're pricier, but I mean, you know why? You know, taste it, just put it in your mouth, and you'll see why.
Right.
But maybe I'm also too prideful about it. Maybe I need to lower the price.
Yeah, be proud.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So that's summer, you know, and I was like, okay, finally, it's October. I can finally rest. However, we're gonna backtrack to September. I see a post on Instagram. Eat Goshen, which is located behind Venturi's, is closed. Mm-hmm. We are closing down. They are out of business. They just wanted to shut it down. I walk in and message the owner of Eat, which is Timonspodcast. And I message her. I'm like, hey, can we talk about this? This sounds like it would work for Guac and Squat, you know? After a month of negotiations back and forth, and this is my first mistake, and I'm going to say here, I've learned from this. You know, there's a lot of mistakes you have to learn and just live through. I really lived through this one. And this was kind of the demise of Guac and Squat. We had a verbal agreement walking into the restaurant as to what my lease was going to be between me and Timonspodcast. No audio, no recording, just a verbal agreement. And then apparently there was a signed copy of this agreement, and I do recall signing it, but it was never brought up again after that, which is interesting. That was my first red flag. So the lease was really, I mean, I'm very frugal. I'm very careful with my money because it's my family's money at the end of the day. And whenever I do a bad decision, it affects my wife with stress, finances, and it also affects my children because both mama and papa are stressed, and now they unfortunately have to suffer the consequences. Not that it should be like that, but we're human, right? So after the verbal agreement, I was like, you know what? This is finally something that looks okay to me. It works out. So I'll move in. Yeah, I'll give this a shot. Granted, this was supposed to be my break because I had a very crazy summer, you know?
Right.
So I was already exhausted mentally throughout the year. And now going into this new endeavor, I was like, you know what? Let me just keep pushing. Let me keep pushing.
Yeah.
And so I did. So, you know, and then we keep going. September's being thrown around. August is being thrown around. We're just talking. And then finally October 5th comes, and I finally have a move-in date. October 5th is the day I started producing guac in this new commercial kitchen. It's super exciting.
Yeah.
Lots of dreams, lots of visions, lots of decorating, lots of my wife really drawing out every little detail as to how we want the vibe and the feel and the look.
Yeah.
And I've talked to you about some of that.
Paintings on the wall.
That's right.
Projector at one point. Yeah.
Music.
Mario Kart nights. Yeah, exactly.
So, there was all this vision and dream of a fun, cozy, modern place to hang out, have great food, and have a great ambiance and environment where everyone's kind of like family, friends. A bar without the bar,
Right.
Because I don't serve alcohol and I don't want to pay $20,000 for a license. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But just hang out. And I also wanted to do worship nights on Friday night, which would have been super cool,
Yeah.
Anyway, so that happened. I was able to move in from October 5th, and then I did a whole bunch of fun stuff, getting ready for it. A lot of promotions, got some really cool pictures, which I kind of throw everywhere.
Right.
It's me and my family standing in front of the Eat sign.
Yeah.
I love those pictures so much.
Those are cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ashley Ganger for taking those pictures. Hit her up. So then we do that. And then sometime in November, I get pulled aside, and there's a lot of texts going on, by the way. And the people in this story, the main protagonists, are going to be me, the head of Guac and Squat, and then my landlords, which is Timonspodcast. And so, moving forward, I get pulled aside. It's a meeting, and we sit down. It's just me and him. I'm like, all right, what's up? What about this lease? What's going on? We should probably get something written down so that, we're both protected and respectful business agreement. He sits me down, and I have to backtrack one thing. I get an email from Timonspodcast, and she says, hey, that lease that we originally signed or verbally agreed upon is now null and void.
Oh, wow.
Yes, just straight up, like, no pretense, no reasons, no conjuncture, no, I don't know, there was no cancellation terms or anything. It was, she just, under, I guess, her right, I don't think there was one, but she just decides to null and void it.
Did you have a copy of this or no?
I do have a copy of the lease, yes. And then all of a sudden, I get pulled aside, and then Timonspodcast talks to me. He's like, so there was some miscommunication. And I'm not going to go too much into details for infringement purposes or whatever.
Right.
I want to protect people's personal relationships. But long story short, Lease A that got me into the building is now null and void. Lease B is now being introduced, which is 2.5 times my rent.
Wow.
That I originally agreed upon.
Wow.
So let's say, lease A was $100. Lease B is now $250.
Wow.
And, obviously we're talking larger numbers.
Right.
I'm not going to disclose.
Yeah, maybe $200, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So, it was like,
yeah.
It was, that, and I've come back and told my wife, I think at that point is when I should have said,
Pull the brakes.
Yeah. And been like, you know what? This is personally a big red flag for me. There's already a breach of trust.
Yeah.
I cannot move forward with this, knowing that this happened. I know why you might think this is fair and logical to do based on the stuff I can't reveal, or rather choose not to. But I think there's a sense of honor and integrity that should have been upheld at that point. And if I was in their shoes, I would have been like, you know what? We messed up, but he shouldn't have to pay for this. Let's honor a certain amount of time. And then once that time ends, we can then reestablish a new lease or figure something out. Yeah. But getting someone in and then changing it on them sporadically is just a little, for me, was kind of a little too blunt. And I think there was just not a lack of honor that I didn't like how it was treated. So
yeah, the rug's getting pulled a little bit.
And at the time, there was no written lease.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, well, you're just throwing these numbers at me. You're telling me to sign this piece of paper, which I'm not going to do, by the way. But then there's no official legal lease still. It takes 2 months for them to get back to me to get the final lease after all this. Once that lease finally comes, I read through it with a business friend of mine, and she's like, Johan, this lease is going to screw you over tremendously. This is a horrific lease. So she does an edit. She kindly does an edit on the entire lease for me and just
sends it back.
Yeah, sends it back. Yeah. And then they look at it, or we have a meeting, and they are surprised that we are upset with this lease. And it turns out they didn't even read the lease. Oh, wow. They just had someone write it up and then gave it to us without even looking over it. At least it appeared, because when we were presenting these things to them in our meeting, they did not... they were surprised by the stuff we were saying. And I was like, what do you mean you're surprised? You wrote this lease. You should have at least know what's going on, you know?
Yeah. They may not have been aware of all the terms and conditions, it sounds like.
Yeah, they were.
And then you explain it to them, they're like, oh, yeah, I could see. Yeah,
there was some weird stuff on that lease originally in the vanilla lease, you know?
Yeah.
Man, but then we changed it. We got to a point where there was a lot of changes made, a lot of weird stuff about how I was paying rent and stuff like that. That was going to screw me over. Yeah, so after that, they finally gave me the final lease. They amended what we wanted, and so the lease looked like a normal lease now. It wasn't one-sided.
Yeah.
But then the final straw came actually about 2 weeks ago. And all of a sudden, I ask, hey, it's cold. This little heater in the corner is costing me $800 to run every month, aside from all the kitchen utilities and all that. Can we do something about this? When they were supposed to install a mini split, and I don't know if you guys who were in there saw, there was like a rectangular white box on top, and that was supposed to be the mini split. So that was the heater. That was going to be way more cost effective.
Right.
And it was going to warm up the place way better and be less noisy. Because if you guys know, that fan was always blowing, and my music could never be really appreciated unless it was really nice and cozy in there. You know, so I was looking forward to that, but it wasn't getting taken care of. They were really taking their time with it. And the company who installed it, turns out they installed the outside units wrong. You're supposed to have the units 14 feet above the ground. They installed it at 9 feet.
Wow.
6 feet difference. And this could have all been taken care of with a phone call. And I was like, and then in my head, I'm like, this is not going to get fixed for another 2 months.
Yeah.
Based on, you know, how this has gone so far. And this was after they told me, once they sent in the final lease, a revision, they said, you have until February 5th to sign this lease, or we respectfully ask you to vacate the premises.
Gotcha.
And that's why this last Friday was the last service, because February 5th was this last Sunday. So after that, yeah. So with that mini split, I was asking, like, can we get this fixed? What's going on? Why am I having to call the AC company and the electrician? This should be on you. Also, it says so on the lease that you're going to take care of this, not me. Right. I won't pay for it, but I'm still doing all the work for you as far as calls and managing and all that.
The coordinator, basically.
Yeah, I'm coordinating it. I'm not getting compensated for it, and they're not doing anything about it.
And you're running.
And the thing was, like, I had to shut down
that one Wednesday.
That Wednesday.
Because it was so cold.
Because it was freezing, and my little heater wasn't doing anything.
Right.
In 1 hour of running, it went from 25 degrees to 26. And I'm like, this isn't going to work. This is going to be running, and it's not going to get any warmer. It's so dang cold. And I was like, how many more of these days am I going to have to close in the future?
Yeah.
How much money am I going to lose? And if we get a super cold day on a Friday, which was my best day, like that week's done, you know?
Yeah, it kills the whole...
Yeah, people don't want to go out.
Yeah, and now rent's 2.5 times more.
Exactly. So it's just a lot of stuff stacking against me.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I'm okay. And I think at the time when I really looked back on it, I was like, I wish I would have gone back to when we were sitting with Timonspodcast and said, look, this is not looking good. I think I just need to bail. Right. And at the time, my mentors, people were advising me, this is a huge red flag. Do not proceed with this. Well, at least that's their advice. But I'm like, and in my head, I don't know if it was pride or just being tired. Dream. Yeah, but I think it was also fatigue of doing the markets. It was, because one thing that I don't really say to a lot of people is doing those markets is hard, because I'm a very eager, excitable person who loves sharing their product, and I struggle with rejection when it's done so with ignorance, in a sense. So like when people try my product and they love it, like I'm here for it, or even the people who are willing to try it. At this point, like most of the time, I don't care if people buy. I just love for them to try something new that I made. And it's a sense of like, oh, sweet. Like I got to make someone's day. I got to introduce them to something new. I opened their mind a little bit to maybe tasting more than meat and potatoes, being in Indiana.
Yeah, steak and potatoes all day long.
Thank you so much. But you can also have some guac with those steak and potatoes. I love that atmosphere of customer to client relationship. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah.
Or
customer
vendor.
Vendor to client.
There you go. And I was just I love that, but when it's dealt with like these eyes of judgment, these potentially racial eyes for the most part. I've been scrutinized sometimes and discriminated against at some of these markets. It wears me down, and it gets me in a kind of sad mood until then I see one of my regular customers, and then they just lift me back up. Yeah. So there was a lot of emotional drain. Yeah. And recently also the Goshen Farmers Market has been a little more difficult with me. They haven't been as helping, I guess.
Accepting, maybe.
Yeah, they've been a little more strict, and I think it's because I'm taking up a double booth, because I eventually wanted to turn that into a mini kitchen so I can serve hot food at the farmers market. Would be nice.
That'd be cool.
You can smell the tamales at the farmers market and be like, whoa, what's that? Yeah. You can see people walking around. So I wanted to do that, but I don't know what the beef is, but yeah. So sorry, did I get sidetracked?
That's fine. So yeah, you're exhausted from the markets, which when you're going into that conversation probably played a little bit into that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm tired. I was tired, and I think I wanted the restaurant to work so that I can do more with my family, but still have a better source of income. Right. Because the idea would be like, all right, I set up this menu, I set up this restaurant, I'm there occasionally, not all the time like I was, and have employees be able to, one, pay them very well, $20 to $25 an hour running my restaurant, and then interacting with my customers, people who really love people, love serving them, and I wanted to get to that point. Yeah. And then me, while I focus on other stuff, like, I don't know.
The vision, the creativity. The other thing, too, is people aren't going to come into your restaurant and be like, reject you.
You're right. People who went into my restaurant were there for me or for my products, but I mean, there were some people that were, I just Googled you and I found you. I was like, great, welcome in. And I had a lot of people who kept coming back. Yeah. And those were actually some of the best customers that, because they found me out of nowhere, they kept coming back.
Like a little gym.
That's right.
What is this?
Well, actually, one guy, he said that I am now his pre-workout food stop. So he would come in, eat my food, and then go climb at the local climbing gym that we have here. Yeah. And he was such a great guy. He just came in, was in love with the food. The first time he was a little like, what is this place? Hey, I'll take it a shot, And then he kept coming back every time.
That's so cool.
There was a set of brothers that they said like every month we go to a new restaurant and we try it out. And for 2 or 3 months in a row, they came back to mine.
Oh, that's cool.
Because they were like, nah, let's go to Guac and Squat again. We feel it. And then there was work groups that would come in, like, hey, you guys want to go to Guac and Squat? People were telling me, it's like, yeah, we were deciding where to go. And then someone remembered Guac and Squat, and then it was settled. Like, no argument, just, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
And people like the little rundown hole in the wall.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
It was an absolute vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for the people that did come out and are listening to this, thank you so much. I hope I did provide you with a good service and a good experience. And you got a little glimpse of my vision for what could be.
Yeah.
But yeah, closing down, this weekend was really hard. Just not even emotionally. I was actually relieved.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And I was just kind of enjoying it, actually. What I was stressed about was selling all the crap because there was so much stuff. I'm like, I don't want to hold on to any of this.
Yeah.
So luckily, a guy came in and just straight up bought all the fridges I was selling for $2,000, and I was like, "Whoa, great! Now let's get rid of some more stuff." A guy came in, bought the warmer that I was selling. I was like, "Oh my gosh, all the big stuff's gone!"
That's
and
awesome.
It was such a blessing to have all that sold.
Is it pretty much all sold?
No, I still have some stuff, and I'll be posting them on my Facebook.
But you can manage that.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Oh no, like I'm a huge heavy fridge. Like, nah, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly.
And so leaving that restaurant behind was kind of nice. It was very relieving and just a season. And we didn't fail. The restaurant was doing very well.
Right.
Financially, it was making a lot of money, and I was only working 3 days out of the week, and we were well off. We were not losing. We never
through the cold.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And you don't have the space. Right.
That's right. No.
It was just that room.
That's
was
right.
The only spot you could
on
go.
Technically the slowest restaurant time of the year. We were doing very well.
Right.
I can only imagine what it would have looked like in the summertime.
Yeah.
And we never went in the red. We never lost a single dollar going into this restaurant.
That's cool.
Me and my wife made nothing but profit going into it.
That's cool.
Because we optimized all our menu. We saved money wherever we could, and we sought responsible products. So like our meat on our burgers was local.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't previously frozen. It was from a butchered cow that my friend raised.
Right.
And he sent to go get processed, and it was that meat. And some people really was like, whoa, this is good meat. I'm like, well, yeah, dude, like it's a local cow eating your Indiana soil. Yeah. And then the patties, I got a local baker to make some yummy, delicious buttery brioche buns. I don't know if you ever
Those
got.
Those were so good.
Oh, you did get a burger.
The chicken
right?
waffle one, and then the burger. Yeah, there's. Well, I guess chicken waffle or waffles, but
You did get a burger.
I got a burger.
Yeah, you got 5.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Wow. All right.
I ate all 5.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, okay. I was about
It was very good.
Thank you so much.
Super solid.
So, these kind of things I was putting into the product, obviously you can't get local guac.
Intentional.
Avocados, but I was very intentional with my
Yeah.
products, my ingredients, everything. And some people appreciated it, but some people are just like, oh, I don't care. Food is food. And,
Right.
respect, it's a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's just this is an option for others. But if you don't care about that, it's still good food,
Yeah.
So, yeah, the restaurant was a cool vision, and I definitely learned from it. It was not a failure at all. It was just an experience I got to live through. And at the end of the day, people are like, oh, man, it must have sucked. Like, sorry for your loss. Where I'm like, no, I learned so much.
Yeah.
And I walked away with more money than I went in with.
That's cool.
And on top of that, a lot of that was just because of hard work, obviously.
Yeah.
Not hiring out cleaners or buying expensive stuff, just being really smart with my money that I had. And then, but I think closing that chapter, people are like, what's next?
That was my next question.
That's everyone's question. Yeah. Like, what's going on? And so I can't really disclose a lot because I hate telling you guys stuff to get excited for, and then it never happens.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to answer this as best as possible. What's next is one of 3 things that was kind of presented to me. One is to go far away and start in a brand new city with a whole new brand new clientele, which is nowhere near here. I can reveal the location, but I can't tell you exactly what company with. Yeah. But it'd be Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, very far away.
That's a hip spot right now.
I know,
That's
right?
a happening thing.
But the issue we're running into, it's very expensive. Right. So the only thing I would ask is, if anyone knows of any housing, affordable housing or rent, that is something that will help us kind of get that move going.
Mm-hmm.
The other option is actually to stay here and possibly relocate and try again in a very different circumstance. And I know I'm very, very vague, but I can't. There is genuinely some stuff I'm not legally allowed to disclose.
No, you're fine.
But through that, I actually just want to pursue a local distribution with a co-packer if possible. So what that means is I would get my recipe, get it tested in a food lab, which if anyone knows a food lab, let me know, because I am struggling to find one. And then get it tested so that a co-packer could package my guac, manufacture my guac, and then sell it to local Martin's, Myers, Whole Foods, Fresh Thyme, these bigger stores that have a lot more clientele and more foot traffic, and then get them to sell my guac and my nut butters. And I think with that, we'd be well off. I keep one of my bosses, when I worked as a closet designer, told me he had this friend who made some, somewhat mediocre salsa. He's a white dude making some whatever salsa. And he said, Joe, like, your salsa and your guac is way better than his. He just made it work. And I was like, well, if my salsa is really that much better than his, and I've never tried it, didn't look appetizing. How can I get there,
Yeah.
Because if his is not as good, but it's still selling and people are buying it and someone wants to work with him,
right?
Then surely with mine, that has had some pretty good feedback and some huge fans, would do very well. So I think that's going to be a lot of the focus, and any assistance in that regard or any connections would be of great help and merit. The third option was really random, actually. There was this family who approached me that wants to invest in me. Just like, it sounded like anything I needed to keep working and keep doing, they were willing to just help me do. That one's very vague because that's literally all they told me, and they've yet to reach out to me, but I'm here waiting, like, okay, sweet.
Yeah.
But I've also learned through all this, when you're holding on to something so tight that you're not letting God kind of take control, it limits you. And I've learned as soon as I let go of the restaurant, that pride, that sense of relief, that sense of fatigue, that I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to do this restaurant stuff or this guac stuff or whatever. I enjoy it, but it's not a forever thing, right?
Right.
When you let go of that pride, like, oh, I got to keep going because I'm a failure if I don't, then once I let that ambition let go, all these other opportunities start happening to me. And the opportunity too, which I can't disclose, is probably the closest thing that's going to happen. But the only thing I can say, it's local.
Right.
So I'll stay local, and like a phoenix that has been burned down, Guac and Squat can rise from the ashes.
Right.
So that's as much of a teaser that I can say about that.
Yeah, we would love that.
Yeah, it's a very local, very, very well known spot.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah. I think you need a break.
I told people I'm gonna take a break. I told people, look, give me a month or two. I don't want to do anything. I just want to hang out with my family.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a trip to Austin to go talk to this guy.
Very nice.
See some housing, see some rent, to see what it realistically looks like.
Get the lay of the land.
Yeah, and if I can't afford it, or there's just no doors opening, then I'll be like, you know what? It's probably for my pocket. I'm gonna put it in my pocket, and maybe for later. But I'm also not just putting all my eggs in that basket. I'm still working on plan 2. I'm still pushing that forward, but I am also taking a break. I've been just hanging out with my kids, staying up late, playing video games, just really enjoying the fruit of my labor that I was supposed to enjoy this last winter, going into this next summer, because my plan was like, just take it easy all winter, go get back into woodworking and carpentry, and then back in the summer do 4 farmers markets. So I was going to do Mishawaka.
South Bend, Middle Bend.
No, not South Bend. South Bend hates me.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes.
So Mishawaka,
Mishawaka, Elkhart, Goshen, and Middlebury.
Wow.
Yeah, the reason I say South Bend hates me is because I've tried selling in a lot of stores in South Bend. None of them want to work with me at any capacity.
Wow.
And the ones that do kind of want to scalp my product, so that makes their other products look good. Yeah. So it's like, oh, well, you can buy this super expensive guac, or you could buy our affordable product. Yeah. And obviously, who's going to buy my super expensive guac?
Right.
Certain people will.
Right.
But not everyone. And I'm like, I'm here for the people, not just the higher echelon of society.
Right.
I'm here for the people, I'm a
person. Yeah.
So, but yeah, South Bend, and then the South Bend Farmers Market, I have my own opinions on them that I will not disclose, but I
think we talked about it. Maybe not. I don't know. It was, they want you in there all the time. Something
they penalize you for not being in there all the time. And then on top of that, the board, who is also run by some vendors, get to call the shots, and if they don't like someone, they can just make up some excuse to kick them out.
Yeah.
And they did that to me and my Turkish friend. And
that's not cool.
Yeah, we're both people of color, so it's like, all right, I guess South Bend has something against us.
Yeah.
Oops, I keep bumping the table. So yeah, that was that.
That's
yeah, but that was the plan, like go for farmers market. Let's add Mishawaka. Let's give that a shot. I hear good things, and it's on a Sunday, so it'll work out.
Right.
But now I've actually closed down my relationship with the Goshen Farmers Market for now, because I don't have a commercial kitchen anymore. Immediately, I got an email. Hey, you need to find a new commercial kitchen, or you cannot sell anything here.
Wow.
I was like, wow, after all that, 4 years, and then
boom,
that's it. You have other vendors buying stuff from, Chicago and other places, and then just reselling it in a different bag.
Yeah.
But I can't sell my local product. All right. Sounds good. Checks out.
Yeah.
But I think I've made some beef with some people there that really don't like me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like me for some reason.
And you're a polarizing figure, Johan.
I don't know, dude. Like, what did I do? I'm literally a foreigner from Indiana.
What's the thing that you put on Facebook like a year or two ago? And you're just like, I don't remember what it was, but you're like, asking me my opinions. I don't care. Just ask me my opinions. I'll talk to you about it. I don't know. It was something really like, you're bold. I think the boldness is what
intimidates. I have put out surveys, and in those surveys, I always get two people. I don't know if it's the same two people, but there's always two people that are like, yeah, you're a little too intense for me. You come off as arrogant and prideful. I was like, I guess. I mean, it's two people out of 40 people taking the survey, so yeah. I'll take it as a grain of salt, but like, it's still there. It's like you see the YouTubers that have millions of comments, right, but then they see the two that really like gets to them. Yes. But then there's all this praise and support.
They don't see that though.
But I want to see that, and I want to ignore this, or not even ignore it, but use that as constructive criticism. Be like,
to get better.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I am a little intense, I guess, but I don't know how. I guess some people are just soft spoken. Well, and I don't mean anything by them. Like, they're great people, probably, but it's just my character, my personality.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I've never met a stranger. That's my personality. So I'm very like, but also I don't ever want to change who I am. And I wouldn't suggest you change who you are either.
I mean,
because that's kind of what makes you amazing.
Thank you so much.
And I've been in a place where I've like years ago tried to change who I was to people please, and the end outcome of that is never fun. You do not feel good about yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, all aspects.
Right. I have a saying actually for that. I am never nice, but I'm always kind.
Yeah.
And the difference in my mind for that is nice feeds into that person and just makes them feel better. Kindness talks to the heart of that person and helps them be better. One makes them have a temporary feeling. The other one helps them be elevated and get to the next point. So I'll never be nice to you, but I will always be the unsolicited accountability partner that you need. There was a friend the other day walking on the sidewalk, and the wife was carrying these two heavy baby carriages, and then the man was pushing the baby stroller. And I asked him, like, wait, shouldn't you be carrying the heavy stuff? And he's like, I mean, this is a really good friend of mine. He's like, dude, right now we're dealing with some pride. I just let her take care of it. And then whenever she decides that she wants to, and I thought it was funny.
That's great.
But I realized, like, maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah.
But it's just in me to just, like,
call it out.
Hey, like, accountability.
Yeah.
Where's the man? Where's the honor? You know?
That's hilarious.
So, but then there's also those people like, hey, I'm a independent, powerful person that I don't need no man or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, I get it, but there's ends and outs without that. Yeah. People are probably gonna hate me for that. I don't know.
That's okay.
Thank you so much.
You'll get a next survey.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the next survey, those two people, I can't believe you said this on this podcast.
Yeah.
Blah, blah.
At least they listened. Thank you for listening.
Yeah,
Appreciate
right? The other time, I think the only other time that caught me off guard was someone thought I was racist against white people. And I'm like, my wife's name is Anna Shea Koskinen. She is of Finnish heritage, and I have mixed race babies, and most of my all friends are white. Yeah. But when I made the guac, because people kept complaining that my guac was too spicy, and if I had one with no spice, before I made up the Olympian, which is a very popular hit with these kinds of people, I made one that, because I wasn't into it. I don't want to make a guac with no heat. Like, yeah. What's the point? You're cheating. Guac. Yeah, you're cheating. The spice is where all the flavors are, or a mixture of spices and herbs. And so I made one called White Boy Confidence, and everyone loved it, I guess, except this one person. And guess what? White Boy Confidence was the worst selling guacamole I've ever made in my life. Really?
Yeah. They love the name. They didn't want to eat it though.
Yeah. No, they loved it. They tasted it and they were just like, can I get too traditional? I'm like, oh, absolutely.
That's what's up. Yeah.
So it pushed the sales of the traditional though. So maybe I should use that as like the sacrifice sample. It's like, here, taste this squat. Now taste this squat. Yeah, I like this one better. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah. The other thing I was thinking is this. It's probably a good thing that you didn't end in November. I know the red flag was there, right? And you probably should have, but I do really appreciate you pushing out and trying for those 4 months. And I think the experience you got from all of this is only going to make you better and stronger. Those 3 options you have out there, I don't like them.
Thank you so much. But I think you'll like the second one.
Okay. But I'd love to see you flourish, and I think this is just a building block. The other thing is, if you would have made the lease work and you would have been established a longer, I think that would have hurt harder if you would have just folded eventually or left eventually into something better. And the other thing is, you never got your maps figured out, so no one could find you anyways. So maybe that was a good thing.
Apple Maps.
Apple
refused to, but yes, Google's spot on.
Yeah, Google knew. So I think maybe that was helpful too. Like, it wasn't like super established yet. Everyone who knew what was up knew the good spot, but I think it was a good building block. You know?
Well, I appreciate that point of view, because no one's brought that up, and that's a very good argument that I have nothing against. So I appreciate that support.
What did you learn in the 4 months of running Guac and Squat?
I can run a restaurant by myself.
Yeah.
It takes one person, one very mentally focused. And this is a cool thing, because I have ADHD. So for the people who think like, oh, people with ADHD can't do this or that, I'm like, bruh, like, I ran an entire restaurant by myself with 68 orders in one day. Wow. Because I thought, and even though my mind was scattered, because it always is, I was able to fulfill orders because all the prep work I'd done got it to a point where as soon as you walked in through the door, you gave me your order, I could have your order done in the next 5 minutes by myself. Wow. Because everything was already laid out and done. My average serving time, I think, was 5 to 6 minutes. And the only thing that took the longest was burgers, because we cooked 4 and 3 sides, each side for the patty. So that was the longest thing we've ever served, but everything else was under 5 minutes. Wow. And this is when it was a full house. There was some times where I messed up and like took 20 minutes because my tamales were raw and I had to cook them quicker. And so I learned how to cook tamales quicker and still tastier or tasty. But yeah, stuff like that. What I learned too is management skills. I learned how to communicate with my employees. I learned how to communicate with orders. I learned how to make a proper menu. I learned how to stock a menu, stock a restaurant properly. I learned how to treat people, organize people. Menus are important. It's not just the day that matters, but it's also the temperature when it comes to serving. People never came out when it was super cold, even though it was a Friday night.
Right.
But like today, I got so many phone calls, and me and my wife were out Tuesday. We were taking I think a drive around town, and it was like everyone was out
because it was nice.
Because it was super nice on a Tuesday night. Like people were bumping everywhere, and I was like, "Oh, the weather," But most of all, I learned that I have a lot of caliber about me. I am very experienced, and I'm very capable of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
By myself.
You stretch yourself to know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've played this level before.
Yeah.
This level again.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or it's more of a value thing. Like I know the value I have now. Like I started a business from scratch. I've never been in debt. My Guac and Squat has never been in the red or lost any money.
Yeah.
It's always been profitable. It's always been in the green. And
you supported your family.
I was able to fully support my family. In 2021, I worked 102 days, and I made $50,000.
Wow.
So that is $500 a day, working 1/3 of the year.
Wow.
I was like,
That's cool.
I have some value. I can do some stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not that I was taking advantage of people, because people will say like, hey, your products are properly priced. I appreciate your pricing.
Yep.
And, people kept telling me, it's like, hey, now that avocados are through the roof. Like, even though through the high avocado prices where they were like $1.89 a piece,
yeah,
all the way down to where they're at now at 78 cents, like, I've tried to stay consistent with my pricing, because I don't want to be this guy who takes advantage of you. I just want to give you good
price
product.
gouges and all that.
Exactly. And I see people all over the place price gouge.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what the heck?
Look at the eggs right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. But I still get my eggs at Costco, by the way, if you need.
Really? That's the spot to go?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
$6 for, I think, 24.
Oh, wow. I got an Amish hookup.
Yeah, well, if you got the Amish
nice.
hookup.
I got the plug.
I mean, we have a person where so I'm lactose intolerant, and I can't drink processed cow milk, but unprocessed cow milk I can, raw.
Yeah.
And it didn't affect me at all.
Wow, that's wild.
Thank you so much. And we buy ours at our secret spot. It's kind of like a moral, like when you find moral spots.
Don't let anyone else know.
You don't tell anyone. Yeah. So my cow.
Is it a farm share?
I don't know what that means, but it's a little shed.
Nice.
And $5 a gallon.
Oh, that's solid.
For raw milk.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
That's really good.
It's raw milk for your cats and dogs.
Yeah.
For those,
is your eye okay?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm
but yes,
winking. I'm not winking.
yeah, no, it's for personal use. We make our own Greek yogurt with it.
Oh, nice.
And it was sad because I was gonna start making ice cream this summer, and you guys had no idea the kind of stuff I was gonna throw at you guys. It was gonna start making the chief sweat a little bit, because I actually know my ingredients, and I do reduce sugar because I care about your not getting diabetes.
Right.
So much.
Diabetes.
Yes, but yeah, and I was gonna do some solid stuff, Mexican and American.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about going forward. I know one of the things you did on your post was to order. So if someone does want guac or stuff like that.
So I haven't done that yet.
Okay.
But this is a good sneak peek into that. So moving forward, I'm going to make, and this is the cool stuff, because the people in this group, I'm going to treat them extra nice. So I'm going to post on my Facebook probably in a month from now. So this is your heads up. Be on the lookout for these posts.
Notifications on.
There you go. Thank you so much. Like and follow. All right. Put the bell on.
Yeah, subscribe.
No, not on Facebook. And yeah, for my Instagram people, I'll try to figure something out, but it is harder for me to manage both of them, especially with Instagram being a whole different platform that I'm not super comfortable with. but I'm going to do some homework, and I'm going to make it so that it's this sounds horrible, but it's genuinely a guac OnlyFans where you subscribe to something.
Yep.
And then not even subscribe, sorry, but you go to this place. I will put out the menu for the week. You will pay ahead of time, and there will be a pickup time window.
Nice.
And then you come pick up. It's super simple. Don't complicate it.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically like as if you're ordering guac or something on Amazon, and then you wait for it, and it tells you the delivery date.
Right.
I'm the same way, except on a week basis. So this week, who wants guac? What flavors? You get to choose now. And then you pick up all day Friday.
Nice.
Oh, after a certain time. And under the cottage food law, I'm able to sell out of my home. So you will be able to pick up from my home.
That's cool. Is it only guac, or are you going to look into other things too?
We'll start off with guac.
Okay.
To test the waters. And then as we go forward, I will start introducing tamales.
Okay.
Because tamales were... A lot of people were absolutely devastated that my tamales were not going to be available.
What about the peanut butter?
Peanut butter, I can still do. Cottage food law or not, it's still a shelf-stable product. So I'm able to do as much peanut butter as I want. And I have a 12-quart Hobart commercial mixer that I will be doing it in.
Okay.
Because that thing's a beast.
That's sweet. So can I say that, you know, in a month from now, there's still a chance that if you still love peanut butter, still love guac, there'll be availability.
Oh, yeah.
It'll just be that shed, that morel mushroom everyone.
And that's the cool thing I think about it, because just like how Guac and Squat also became that, because I don't know if there was this reputation about Guac and Squat, but there's there's this hidden, unlabeled place that only if you know through this alley, it's like Goshen's little secret, you know, like the people who ever got to experience it, they're going to be able to take that as a gift and go home with it and live right now their life with like, oh, I ate at Guac and Squat before I shut down.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And you got to experience the vision Johan had. And, you know, that's a gift that you guys have from me or from that experience that I hope you cherish, and hopefully it was a good one.
Oh, it was.
You know,
I can speak for the people. It was awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, a customer pointed out, and I didn't check this too much, but she's like, "Do you know you have 54 reviews on Google?" I'm like, "Oh, it's 54 now," because last time I checked it was like 23.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Yeah, like you have 54 reviews." I'm like, "Great." And she's like, "How are you this good?" I'm like, I'm not. I'm just making good food." She's like, "No, every single review is 5 stars."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No way." And sure enough, I check it. I'm like, every single review is 5 stars. I'm like, what the heck? There was one 3-star review, but that one I knew about. That one's old. And I reached out to this lady. It's just 3 stars, no comment. I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry if I made this a bad experience. Would you mind letting me help you out? Like, how can I fix this for you? Like, what did I do you wrong by? Whatever." But obviously she doesn't care. Yeah. She left some other 1-star and 2-star reviews that other place. So I'm like, on her end, I'm probably the 5-star. You know.
Like you got 3.
That's okay. Like, hey, this lady's 1-starring everyone, but she 3 stars me. It's like, hey,
it's kind of a win.
Yeah, right.
It's a big one right there.
So yeah, I think having this little Facebook group will also be. I will hand select who is allowed in. Mm-hmm. And it will be an exclusive thing because I need to have this available only for people I trust and people I want to let into my home. Right. You won't need to step into my home, just on the porch is fine.
Yeah, just run over. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's good to know.
Yeah, because there are people who still want my guac. They're like, "Hey, where can I get your guac?" Oh, really? Yeah. Timon raising his hand.
The peanut butter. You saw the half.
Oh, yeah. I walk into his home tonight, and there's just a Choco Guac. And I don't know if this was product placement or anything like, "Hey, Johan, look, we support you." But there was legit one of my peanut butters absolutely nommed down to about like 20% left.
Yeah, we smash that stuff pretty hard.
And I was like, all right, okay, I see you with your Choco Gravel, you know.
Sometimes in the middle of the night when I'm hungry, which I'm really stopping, I'm really trying not to eat anytime past 8. Okay. 8:30. Mm-hmm. But it'll be like, okay, I could eat something garbage or I could just get the spoon out.
Hey, well, I mean,
hit the Choco.
At least you're replacing your sugary habits with choco gravel.
Yeah.
Which is 3 grams of sugar per 2 tablespoons. So
Yeah.
it's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah, I was probably having a tablespoon or 2. Not feeling too bad. Put on some bananas. Oh, my
yeah.
Yeah, so.
Get that potassium. Get that little amount of sucrose or fructose. You got it.
Yeah, it's so solid. Well, thank you for explaining it.
Yeah.
Explaining all this stuff. It's unfortunate. I think that's just how it goes sometimes. You know, I mean, looking back is always better. Understanding what you could have done differently, what could have changed.
Yeah, but now I know.
But now you know, and I think it was really good for you to flex that restaurant muscle and see how much you could lift, how much you could do. You know, you said those 3 options, but I hope there's like a 4th or 5th option in the future, that in the long-term future where there is another Guac and Squat that pops up.
Well, knowing my life, all my plans usually God's like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's cute, you know. And then he just like swishes them away. He's like, here's this. And I'm like, what the crap?
Yeah, where did this come
it's
from?
like, I don't know. But I mean, at the end of the day, I still love making guac for people who want it.
Yeah.
I'm not here for the
You've
people.
got a good community, man. That's so.
I hope so.
54 people left a review. I mean, that's
in a very difficult, hard to find spot.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And people were not pissed off showing up at the farmer's market. Be like, you know, because you could have been an Apple person,
Right.
You know, bless your heart. You could have been an Apple person.
Show up.
Call, which they did. And they're like, hey, I'm here at the farmer's market. Oh, you must be an Apple person. You know, I don't judge you, but I'm sorry for your interest in devices. You come over to Behind Venturi's, and they could have been pissed, they could have been upset,
Right.
But they chose not to. They're like, no,
over.
you know, and no, we want to go, like we want to find you, we just don't know how.
Yeah.
And they made that trip, and I was like, well, thank you so much, you know, and hopefully everyone that went there
Enjoyed it.
and I didn't do anyone wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I know my wife and I, we went multiple times.
You did?
We did. We
You helped me out with the board even.
Yeah, that was fun.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much. I felt kind of weird. I was like, nah, I'll give him a drink.
That was so good. That was so cool. We walk in, Johan has this menu board, and he's like, you had just gotten it, and you got all the letters that go on the menu board, and you're like, could you sort these? So we just sat there and talked and sorted. It was our little date time, so it was perfect.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we really enjoyed that. Those are memories. Yeah, I think anyone that went will really. I was trying to get as many people as I could to come and enjoy that. Really love what you're doing, man. I would hate to see it go to Austin, Texas, but if it does, I mean, that gives me a reason to come to Austin, Texas, and just fill up on a suitcase full of choco gravel.
There you go. Well, even at Austin, there's just so much opportunity, bigger money, more money,
bigger market,
more people, more Mexicans that are willing to try my guac. Well, funny side note is the Hispanic community, aside from some people who always shared my posts, thank you so much to those people, very, very, very few Hispanics would consistently come back, or Latino people would come back or even come into my restaurant.
Really?
Yeah, very little. And the people who did come were very blessed by it, because I'm like, yeah, this is authentic Mexican Oaxacan pozole. And they're like, ¿Tienes pozole? I'm like, yeah, dude. I'm like, here it is. And they're like, and then they're like, what are these tamales? I'm like, they're the best tamales you'll ever try. And then like, and so the Mexicans that did find my tamales, they loved them. But there was always those people, even my own people, were very judgmental about me. It's like, ay, mira, look at him selling his $25 a dozen tamales. Because normally they're about 16 or 18 or... Even 18 is high. Yeah. Or even $1 a piece.
I've seen them.
But like Johan's tamales are $2 each. Like, nah, get this guy out of here. Yeah. But the people knew is like, I put local fresh chicken in it with some good masa, and I put a really good ingredients, a really nice chicken broth. I took care of the tamales, you know, and the tamales took care of my people. So what more can I ask for?
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's interesting. What was your favorite thing to make? Other than tamales, because with the menu you would do different things.
Oh, what was it? Yeah, some people got annoyed. I got in the survey. They're like, "I wish you'd have just like a staple." I'm like, "Dog,
that's
like
the tamale.
It's Guac and Squat.
Yeah,
it's Guac and tamales. Like, those are my staples." But I think the funnest thing to do was tortas. Tortas are Mexican sandwiches. And the reason they were so fun is because no one person got the same torta in the entire restaurant. Because every time I served a torta, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this one. I know this person. Or based on your personality, I'm going to change it so that I can serve you.
That's crazy.
Like when Timon would come in, like, just let me take care of it, bro.
Yeah.
At first, I had these little tamale sheets that you could customize your tamales.
Yeah.
I did away with those so fast because I was like, these people are ruining their own experience by them making their own tamale.
Yeah.
Like they come to this place so that I could take care of them and I could feed them.
Yep.
If I let them ruin their own experience,
You don't ever come back.
they don't. And then they let me take care of the sauce. They let me sauce it. They let me do all the stuff. And you know, because you've eaten my tamales.
Sauce is fire.
I took care of you, and my tamales had the proper sauce, and everything was properly done.
Yep.
But my torta was super fun because every time I was just like, oh, let's try this. Oh, let's try. Oh, look, it's Timon. I got you, dog. Like, I'm going to get you some good torta, you know?
Yeah.
But then there was feedback. It's like, hey, there wasn't as much chicken on this. I'm like, great, let me refund you. And they're like, no. I don't mind. And then next time they came in, I doubled up on theirs. And I was like, all right, you please tell me if this is not enough. And they're like, no, you did good by me. I was like, great.
That's cool.
I'm glad to hear it. So I wanted to take care of my customers, you know? But that I loved making that, and then just inventing new stuff. People thought I was like, oh, these must be recipes that he's been doing for his. I'm like, nah, dog, I just made this morning. Like the bagel sandwich. That was one thing me and Trey just pulled out of thin air.
No,
it's like, all right, we got eggs, we got bagels, we got this fancy gourmet bologna, which I know sounds weird, but it was. Trust me when I say it's gourmet bologna. All right, we got this fancy cheese, let's do it up. And then people ate it like, dude, that's a good bagel.
It's fire.
So, and then we sauced it up, of course. And yeah, it was a good time. I hope people enjoyed it.
Enjoyed the birria tacos.
Birria.
Yeah, I can't say that. Birria. Yeah, birria tacos.
No, birria. Perdón. Birria.
Birria tacos.
Birria.
They were so good.
And that's actually a whole other story that is way too long to go into right now. But my business partner left me after a month and a half of working together because there was a complication with the wife not liking me and not liking my approach or my vision and stuff like that. They were feeling betrayed of something that I was very clear communicated. I even have texts and emails disclosing everything, but apparently I betrayed the trust and was changing the vision that I had originally agreed upon with them. And I was like, not really, but if you guys must go ahead. It's not going to hurt me any, And I think they probably thought like, oh, he's going to fail now because we're not here. I'm like, I made it 2 more months after. Yeah. And we were fine. If anything, we were better. But with him, he took the birria tacos because that was his recipe.
Gotcha.
Everything else was mine, though.
Gotcha.
So, but he did add that touch, and I obviously the last couple months, I tried to make my own taco, which I did. And I did something called a chilaquile, and people absolutely loved that one, too. So, it wasn't really a huge loss. And this was while my other guy that I partnered up with was training from scratch, which he did great.
That's cool.
So
yeah, a lot of things learned.
Oh man, and you guys don't even know what was planned. The ice cream, the popsicles, the freaking projector, and how cool that would have been.
Mario Kart nights.
Yeah,
cool.
I would have, and then I just right when I announced that we were closing, a lady messages me and offers me these free booths, like Subway restaurant booths. They have like that weird green, but they're still in theme with Guac and Squat. Yeah. And I was gonna have booths, and I was like,
that'd been cool.
That would have been so cool, And then of course, right on the last day of service, she messages me. I'm like, dog, you did me dirty. Like I was waiting.
Probably good. I mean,
but yeah, it was God. Obviously,
you wouldn't have had to get rid of them. Like, you'd have booths just chilling at your house.
I don't want booths chilling at my house. I already have my wife chilling at my house, looking at me with these angry eyes, being like, babe, my house is a mess again. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's not my fault. But thank you. And honestly, through it all, my wife has been the MVP Because most people, for example, now that you're pregnant, well, not you, but your wife.
I mean, 2023, I am pregnant. It's okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You pretend you're in this situation, and you all of a sudden quit your job.
Yeah.
And then go sell microphones or something.
Right.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I had a child, a 1-year-old girl, and then my wife was pregnant. And I quit my job as a tailor to then sell guac.
That's wild.
No one does that, and
it's not the stable move.
No, but she through it all has supported me because she knows that when my back is against the wall, that is when I thrive the most. That is when I really just go at it, because it's the human condition of like when you're face to face with a lion and he's about to kill you, you can either cower in your final moments or at least fight back.
Right.
To at least, punch him in the eye or then, whatever.
Right.
So it's that fight or flight with me, because if I have no job, like I have to do this.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, and I was talking to my mom, encouraging her with some complications that we've dealt with. And through it all, by the way, my uncle passed away in December in the middle of this whole restaurant.
I'm sorry, man.
Thank you. Well, it's liver cancer. He was already dealing with it. Drank an energy drink a day. 112 grams of sugar a day. His liver exploded. Well, not exploded, but liver cancer. It just ate it away.
Yeah.
So we knew it was coming. It was just tragic. From going 3 months, from happy, we're at a barbecue, hanging out, 3 months, he's gone.
Wow.
That fast.
Wow.
So anyone who's drinking out there, stop.
Yeah.
Check your liver at least. He was throwing up uncontrollably, could not stop because his liver stopped functioning.
Wow.
And then it got to his pancreas, and he got pancreatitis, and stage 4 cancer just wiped him out. He was skin and bones.
Was it alcohol as well?
No, just energy drinks, 2 a day.
Wow.
But even 1 a day will do you.
Yeah, those are
no good.
Nasty.
Well, it's just the sugar content too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about.
Heart palpitations. I know that's people I know with the energy drinks. They drink too much and their heart just starts pounding so hard. And,
it's not worth it.
No. So you were talking to your mom. She was encouraging you.
Yeah, I was encouraging because she just went through all this. She lost her brother,
yeah.
obviously, and she was taking care of him for 3 months. Super hard for my mom.
Yeah.
And I was encouraging her. I was like, first off, you can't help people who won't help themselves. You just can't. You're just talking to a wall pretty much.
Right.
And the second thing I was encouraging her with, the most comfortable people are usually the people who are less willing to change. They have ideas of grandeur, like, oh, hey, I want to do this. Or, hey, I want to pursue this. Like, you're not going to do it. You're too comfortable. Why are you going to do it? Yep. There's
no hunger.
It's that saying that I personally hate. If it's not broke, why fix it? My response to that philosophy or that way of thinking is, sure, it's not broke, why fix it? But then I'm like, well, why not make it better? Yeah, sure, it doesn't, but you can make it better. And that's my philosophy. And so I think anytime I've been pressed against the wall, it's always allowed me to go further and further. And people are always amazed, like, how are you doing all this? I'm like, because I'm constantly living on the edge. I have nothing to fall back on.
Right.
I have no security.
The only way is forward.
Yeah, I have no 401k. I have nothing like that. I don't even know what any of those mean. I'm just like, I see this amount of money in the bank, and this is what I got to do. I got to make more money until I can get some passive income through some business deals and then go. Yeah. And that's the way I'm going about it, whether it be a farm or something, and then it's something my kids take over. And I already have plans for my daughter to take over my popsicle business. And who's not going to buy popsicles from a cute 12-year-old girl,
right.
Entrepreneur,
right?
Business, super extrovert.
Yeah.
Selling popsicles with amazing ingredients.
Yeah.
Who's not going to buy it
money.
from Finley?
That's straight money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I saw Goshen Arts on the canal. When Alice and I went to that, and then you were rolling around with your popsicle stand. That was cool. Just to see you in your element. And I remember I was talking, I think it's Trey was there. And we were chatting, and he's like, Yeah, we were selling popsicles, and then Johan gets on the cart, and then next thing I know is we're almost sold out of popsicles, like something like that. So
Yeah,
and you're not a cute 12-year-old girl.
Thank
like,
you so much.
Imagine.
I'm a cute 31-year-old Mexican.
But if it was a 12, she would crush.
Oh yeah,
it,
absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
With her little fanny pack with all these bills, organized neatly.
Yeah.
And I already have a name that I'm not disclosing, but
keep it on the deal.
It'll be cute.
It's going to get stolen.
Yeah, because it'll be Finley's blank.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm a graphic designer, so obviously it's gonna look absolutely trendy as crap.
Fire.
Super fire.
That's cool, man. Well, I really do hope that this is a time of rest, and then the next thing comes. That's okay. Yeah, it's all good. This table's completely hollow.
It's not you. It's there we go.
Yeah, man. I hope it works. I hope it all. The next thing comes right in front of you, and you're like, yeah, this is exactly what's the next move. I'm looking forward to joining that Facebook group and staying stocked with peanut butter and guac and tamales when we can. Tamales are fire.
Thank you so much. And I'll also be selling the sauce that I made to go with it.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Because people will probably pitchfork and riot outside of my house until they can get that honey chipotle mayo and that roasted bell pepper sauce.
I think you mixed them for me the last one.
I've been mixing them because I was like, why am I putting these in different, like, who the crap is going out there and not putting both of these on there?
I mean, yeah, it was so good.
Thank you so much.
It was so good mixed. I don't have any more questions, man. I think you did a really good job of explaining what's the whole thing. It's a crazy journey.
I enjoyed it. I'm super 100% stoked for what's coming. I got some blood work done so I can find out if I'm dying.
Oh no!
You know, $200. I haven't been to a doctor in 12 years.
Oh wow!
Because I can't afford it. And so I was like, oh, okay. Well, we sold some equipment. Let's check up on ourselves because I lost my hair because of stress.
Yeah.
And I found out stress is extremely detrimental to your health. And I noticed that the more stressed I am, my teeth have started to wane. I lost my hair. I'm always exhausted. I can only sleep 5 hours a night.
Wow.
And yeah, I've been exhausted. So I'm literally just taking it easy. And my blessed wife, always supporting me, never giving up, always like, hey, you know what? I trust God. I trust that He gave you a drive to provide for us. And so she's always been just enjoying homeschooling, being with the two kiddos. And I'm always, somehow, God gives me an opportunity to provide. And I need to take care of myself. So I went to go get some blood at Center for Hope and Healing, which is a very affordable location. So I'm going to definitely shout them out because for $200, they did about 10 different tests, which they said that Goshen Hospital would have charged you like $5,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will gladly take $200. So I'm getting checked for all kinds of stuff for the last 10 years that I haven't ever been to a doctor.
It'll be good to have that. Point in time where you're like, okay, this is where I'm at here.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm excited for what's to come. And I don't have a single regret. I enjoyed meeting all you people, all you new faces and old faces. I'm glad that you got to see my vision. And I am nothing but blessed to have you guys for these last 4 years of my life. Guac and Squat's not dead. It's just changing.
Yeah. I like the Phoenix.
The analogy.
Yeah. It's very visual. I see that.
Yeah. And I think every time a phoenix, well, based on mythology, it passes away, I'm assuming the new one is completely different DNA structure as far as new plumage. It's not the same. It's brand new, So that's at least the philosophy, the mentality I'm going with it. Like, just enjoy this time I have now. Obviously not too much because we still need some finances, but we're still well off for a little bit.
Yeah, I think you'll find a nice balance, and then it'll give you the stepping stones to the next thing.
Right on.
So I hope.
Cool.
Well, yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and thank you for feeding the community.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Well, Goshen, you're very, very welcome to the people who came out. We appreciate you.
That's good. Where can they find your Facebook? Let's see. Just give your plugs real quick.
Yeah. So usually I do Facebook stories and Instagram stories. So both of those, if you type in Guac and Squat, you will see my little avocado with a straw hat. Instagram is guacandsquat.official because some cheeky person out there
took it all.
Took at Guac and Squat. and is not even using it.
That's the worst.
Cheeky person. So I'm Guac and Squat .official on Instagram, and then just straight up Guac and Squat on Facebook. And this is with the letter N. Granted, if you're hearing this podcast, it's probably because they linked it from my Facebook page.
Right.
And then, yeah, there's a lot of interesting avenues I could do. Maybe down the line do something else, but I've always, and I guess I'll end with this, but in these last week of rest, I actually got a moment of clarity. I was like, ever since I was a little kid, why didn't I pursue this one thing I've always wanted to do? Because now that I have a little bit of money, not too much, under 10 grand. So just so people don't get curious, like, oh, he's wealthy. I'm like,
no. Now that you have $1 million, go ahead.
Yeah, right. 10 grand. Like, why did I stop pursuing this? So I want, if I could, get an apprenticeship as an architect, because I've always wanted to be an architect. I love designing homes. So it'd be funny if I just do a complete dynamic shift.
Yeah.
I'm already a carpenter, and
right.
It's just like, let's go into architecture. I love just being an apprentice, learning, and then doing it.
Right.
I love that teach. Sorry, that was...
No, that's cool.
Rabbit.
I love it. If you guys know of a food tester, right?
Yeah, food tester. We need food tester. I need a...
You'll be selling equipment on Facebook too.
I will be selling a little bit more equipment. I think the biggest thing I'm selling right now is potentially one of my 2 popsicle tricycles.
Okay.
One of them. And then I'm also selling my popsicle chest freezer. It's a huge display freezer with baskets.
Yeah.
It's
you showed it. You had it at the Goshen.
Yes, it's valued. All that's valued like at $1,200, but it's selling for $700.
Okay.
So I'm like $500 off with all this. Yeah, it doesn't look pretty, but it works.
Yeah. Display. It's nice.
And then I mean, if anyone wants an architect apprentice, I'm here for it. I'm ready. I have nothing on the plate,
I love it.
And then the other thing, housing in Austin, if anyone knows of real estate or housing. And then the other thing would be, just support as far as the most important one actually, co-packer or distribution experience.
Okay.
If anyone has any food licensing experience, any food distribution experience, hit me up because I'm in desperate need for that. I have recipes done. I need a food lab, and we need to go from there.
Cool. Well, sweet, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on, talking about it.
Yeah.
Excited to see you go. Excited to see where you're going.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Catch you guys later. Peace.
Peace.